Hello. Good evening, everyone. It's Vicky Falaji. I'm the host of the Nigeria We Want on Vicky O Show. I want to welcome you to a show tonight, the Nigeria We Want. Before I actually go ahead tonight and get our panelists onto the show, I would like to show you something that I received today from our uh, from our producer. So this is a coffee mug, branded coffee mug, the Nigeria we want. The Nigeria we want. It's beautiful, it's colorful, it's really beautiful. So I've got two mugs to give away today. So comment in the comment box. If you're on Facebook or if you can watch us on E360 TV, just put your comment in that you want the mug and we will get one across to you wherever you are in this world. Just make a comment and you may be one of the winners of the two mugs today on our show. Okay, so before we go ahead, we have two sponsors of our show. Capstone Medical Center Baysdale is one of our sponsors, and I would like to play their infomercial. Group of medical doctors doing greater and mighty things in the community, helping people with their medical issues. Check them out. So that's Capstone Medical Center, Baysdale, 515-271-35. That's their number. Give them a call. They're able to do consultation on the phone with you. I think we can still do that till December. So give them a call. Whatever may be wrong, they will conduct their investigation into your health and be able to help you out with whatever you need. Fantastic bedside manner, lovely staff members. So give them a call, 5152-7135. That's Capstone Medical Center. The other business that I would like to actually play the infomercial is a woman called Dr. Randy Ward, who is an editor of editors. She's got years of experience in the field. So if you're writing a book and you need an editor that will get to do to edit your book and do it as quickly as you want, this is the woman for you to call. She actually edited the book that I recently published, The Global Achievers. It's not here right now. Anyway, she edited that book 3 times within 12 hours. She's so lovely, easy to work with, and very affordable. You're writing a book or you're writing your thesis, she's the woman to talk to. So, Randy Ward, check. So if you're thinking about contacting Randy Ward, just send us an email, vickyoshow@gmail.com, and Randy will be in touch with you. So that is it for today as per our sponsors. Now we'll move ahead and bring our panelists onto the show. Mr. Nwachukwu, welcome to the Nigeria we want. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. No, no, no. Still can't hear you. Is it plugged? Check it out. I can't hear you. So get to work and I'll bring while your lights are on.
Hello.
Hello, Mr. While your lights on, how you day?
Hello, my sister Ideal. Good to be back on the
Nice to
Nigerian we
be
want.
back. Nice to be back. Nice to be back. Nigeria, God help us. There's always something.
Amen.
There's always something. So I think we have a lot to talk about today. Um, so we'll get to it when we have Elvis back. So how's your week been?
Yeah, busy. Busy week. From morning from Monday until late on Friday. So it was
Hmm,
really busy, productive, and rewarding week. So
that's
it's always good looking to the weekend, and also
hmm,
most importantly, looking forward to our weekly therapy on this show.
exactly. Yeah, you call it that. It's a therapy. I tend to look forward to it actually because
Yeah.
I feel that's where I can you know say it out what I have in my mind or things that I've been pondering on, things I've come across all week. I just would like to come on and just say it the way I think it is.
Yep.
So yeah, it's good to have you on back onto the show.
Thank you.
Elvis, can you talk to us now? Can we hear you now? Ah, hey, God help us. Oh. Is it Buhari now? We still can't hear you. I don't know, my brother. So our mug arrived this morning.
I saw that.
It's
This
honestly,
afternoon. You,
it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
yeah,
So I'll bring yours next week.
yeah,
Uh,
I saw that. You did
maybe
a
you are
quick,
coming to the couples night.
yeah, yeah. I saw your quick promo this afternoon. So yeah, I'll be
Yeah.
there on
Oh,
Saturday.
yeah, I'll bring yours. And we are doing giveaways today. So will be receiving two
Wow,
people will be receiving one each. It's really
that's
lovely.
that's really good.
Ẹ̀gbọ́n Yẹmí,
Good
ẹ̀gbọ́n mi tó ń
afternoon.
bọ̀.
Good afternoon, Ẹ káàsán o.
Ẹ kalẹ́ làwa wà o, a ti fẹ́ wo
Ah,
òru pàápàá.
you see, what a life. What a
Ṣé
life.
ṣé wà dáadáa?
Adúpẹ́, we thank God. We thank God.
Olúwa ṣeun.
Hello, hello, Egbon.
Wale, nice to see you.
Same here.
Big man.
Avio, that's my brother.
Yes, big man Wale.
Rocky Melbourne.
Oga o.
Egbon,
Ẹ̀gbọ́n ya
now,
everyone
like,
need gist. Give us gist about
Gist.
the
Gist.
collaboration that just happened.
Oh yes. Well, at least something to smile about for a,
Exactly.
for a, for a change.
Mm,
I used to run the program Barada, and it ran for some 15 years or so on Brooklyn, and it was a good show, a very good show, well received.
mm,
But we had to stop over the years for some years now because of paucity of funds. So I met Chief Osita, the owner of Ogele. Ogele is like it's a
is it
cable
like
TV
huge?
kind of. It's a cable TV,
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
and it's in some places in Africa, quite a number of places in Africa, including Nigeria. So he got interested in me as a person, and of course, got to know about Barada, and he said, "Let's talk." So it's like a rebirth of that program. We're going to be on that channel, www.ogele.com, and it promises to be exciting. So that is like taking Barada to the world.
The world, global world.
Yeah, to the world. And I'll be more than excited if I know that people like you are watching, you know, subscribing from Australia and all that.
Mm.
Let me take a virtual trip to Melbourne. Why not?
Why not? Yeah. Maybe you are going to make it a real one soon, hopefully.
So we're in business, and we'll do our best to keep the excitement on. It's Ogele. It's called Unlimited Entertainment and 100% African. So we're going to push in quite a number of stuff that is ours onto the show. I'm really looking forward to it. Something to smile about for a change. Too many bad news around. Too many
bad news. Too many bad news.
Too many.
Congratulations.
Elvis, it's nice to see you.
Elvis, can you talk now? Hey, God help us. So
sorry, I can't hear you again. I don't know what has gone right or wrong.
I think you should take out.
I don't know if you can still hear me.
Take out the headphone and talk to us freely. I don't know. It's not on my side.
It's as if the village people are finally catch up with my guy tonight.
We can't hear you at all. Oh, he's trying something else. All right, well, Mr. Elvis.
I'm struggling to get you guys, but I'll.
Okay, so you know what? So
we still can't hear you. Try the other one.
So can you start with your update, please? Vicky.
Oh my God.
Elvis.
Hello, I can hear you.
Wow.
Thank God, at last.
Thank.
I've had to dial in from another device.
Okay, that's better.
We always have a solution for the village. We always have a solution to
people.
Take care of.
Okay, so you have that. Yeah, so I thought the village people, they finally catch up with my guy tonight. No. Okay.
All right. So how have you been, Elvis?
I could hear everything. Only you guys couldn't hear me.
Are you frozen or what?
Yeah.
Okay. So when Elvis gets back, we'll continue. But you're back.
I've been all right, Vicky, Egbon, Wale, everyone. I have been as normal under the pump, but that's okay. No, hear you.
Yes.
I'm here. Hear me.
Okay. The thing is freezing.
I'll tell you the lesson in this. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
I said I'll tell you the lesson in this.
All right.
Never shout hooray until you have driven far away from the village.
It's true. It's true.
Oh my God.
All right. So, Elvis, can you talk properly now?
I can talk. I'm just wondering why you guys can't hear me. I can hear everything you say there.
It was freezing. We couldn't hear 90% of people.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay.
We can hear you.
I've driven past the village after all, so yeah. Anyway, it's been a long, busy week, Vicky. Can you still hear me or not?
We can hear you.
We can hear you.
We can.
Yeah, it's been. Look, I won't take your time. It's been a busy week. I've been under the pump, but it's been a productive week, like for Wale and everyone as well. It's been good busy for me. So yeah, we're back on the show again. So we can just without wasting time, just plug away, because our time is running really fast, and
all right.
sure we'll have a lot to catch up on. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we do. So updates. My updates. There are a couple of them. The first one is regarding Egmon's industry, as per Baba Jesha. Sorry, Baba Jesha. I'm not sure if Elvis know about this Baba Jesha guy.
That's actually one of my updates. You've taken it up from you, stolen it from me, Vicky. So fire away.
So I just can't stop thinking how rampant this is in Nigeria. You know, the cases of rape. Fortunately, with social media, we are able to get more of the news. It's something that we thought in the past doesn't happen in Nigeria. When I used to live in South Africa, I lived there for 6 years, and I know at that time men were told, men with HIV were told by their herbalist to sleep with 5-year-old girls, young girls, so that because they've been wired to believe that when they sleep with fresh blood, which are the kids, tiny kids, that will take away, they will be healed of HIV. So they were doing that. And of course, instead of HIV disappearing from their society, it was increasing, because these young men would rape all these young kids and then pass it on to them. So while I was in South Africa, I never believed a Nigerian man would stoop so low to do things like that. But in this case now, it's quite it makes me so angry sometimes when I read some people's comments, what they say about this, asking for proof, or the fact that the police released him, commenting that he only touched the girl. Meanwhile, there was a video of him apologizing and blaming the devil for making him to do what he did. He did it 7 years when the girl was 7 years. Now the girl is 14 and he wanted to try it again. It just amazes me how our people do reason. I read someone who I thought had brain, and I was just like, oh my goodness, if you can think like this, oh my goodness, what's going on with our people? So that was one of my updates that I just hope and pray that would just die down like that. And something that I would like to call people's attention to, this guy is not from Ijesha, because we call him Baba Jesha. It's just, that was his stage name. He's
So
not Ijesha.
that's a disclaimer now, right?
Yeah, of course, because I don't want people to start thinking all the Ijesha men are like that. He's not from relation. He's not from Ijesha.
Now we are throwing.
That is his stage name. Oh.
Wait a minute there. And now we are throwing our ambassadors under the bus, but it's okay.
Because he could speak the language, that doesn't mean it's from there. Oh. So please, nobody should be thinking, yes, now that Jesha people's problem. No. He had his own problems, and he blamed it on the devil. He blamed it on whatever, on his village people. And I really don't care. Whatever is within you is what comes out when nobody's watching. So this guy had issues, and this shouldn't be swept under the carpet. Something needs to happen. That's number one. And the other thing is we tend to chew on things like this. He was caught. Something needs to happen. He needs to pay for what he did. Now, the second update that I have, I will play the video. And I think I sent this video to you all during the week, which this guy, this senator, actually said everything we've been talking about forever and ever on this show. I'll play him. I'll play.
Whatever is our position, we have a chapter. We cannot keep quiet any longer. It has gotten to a point that we cannot sleep with our two eyes closed. We are not free. Our children are not free. The president must rise to the occasion. There's no nation that is so powerful that doesn't need support of other nations. Individual cannot say you will leave the world without any other person with you. So we must rise. The situation is our security system has collapsed. It has failed. And because it has failed, we need to look for foreign support. It costs Nigeria nothing. Forget the ego, forget the superiority of Nigeria in African nation. Today, we are facing serious problem. If our nation is to survive this period, I'm not in doubt that the security architecture we have today cannot cope with what we are facing. Every part of this country is threatened. From the north to the south, nobody is safe. Nobody can travel 50 kilometers in our nation. I feel like shedding tears for a country that we grew up, where nobody harass you when you travel from Lagos to Maiduguri. I done it in times past. Today, I cannot travel from here to Kaduna to Niger State where I was born. The president must know that this is a bad time for our nation. We must look for foreign support to save this nation. This is my position, Mr. President. We must rise to it. They are killing people in the east, in the west, in the south, in the north. We should shut down the National Assembly. Let's shut down. If we cannot save this country, we stay in our homes. Our country is bleeding. People are in poverty. There's no food. People are hungry. Insecurity is threatening us. We cannot pretend. It's better we are not here than to not see that here people are dying. Every day Nigerians are dying. We must rise to the occasion. And so me, Mr. President.
Senator.
That was that senator smart talking and speaking the mind of Nigerians. You know, you could feel his passion and his you could feel it in his voice. You could feel it in his voice, and thank God that we have someone like that speaking and talking, speaking out and calling it what it is. And I think it's getting to them even in the Senate. So I'll just leave it at that. I will get Elvis to give us his own update. Elvis.
Yeah. Hi, Vicky. Now I sent a video.
Yes,
So just
do you want me to play it now?
So it's still just help me play that video because it's along the same lines as well. So.
All right. Okay.
Okay, Mr. President, we want justice. Justice must prevail. We want you to allow us to use AK-47 the same way the Fulanis are using. Yes. Yesterday we saw them with our eyes. They were speaking Fulanis, not armed bandits. It was Fulanis. We saw them. They came and attacked this village. They killed more than 20 people. Their aim was to attack the IDP camp. But because of the neighboring villages, they killed and some people with injured others. Some are at the hospital right now. Mr. President, if you know you are in power, if you know you're the president of this country, we voted for you, and you must rise and do something. Else, we'll do our best. We must do our best. My name is Mr. Amos Amo. I'm the youth leader of this community. This is Abagana village. Thank you.
I'm from this community. At about 12 o'clock.
Yeah, you can end it now, Vicky.
But this morning.
All good. Yeah, I hope you all can hear me now. Can you or not?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, so I just after I saw that video, I saw another one from the governor of Benue State as well. Typically reiterating the same issues that the youth leader in that video raised. The governor has become so disgruntled to the extent that they're now making outright accusations. At the moment, there's no more diplomacy. People are tired and calling out the evil for what it is. I mean, I can't imagine a situation where people have been taken away to be given protection only because their villages have been taken over. People, you know, there are people maimed and killed, and then, you know, in those camps where they thought they had found safety, these gunmen still infiltrate those areas, killing as much as 20 people in a bid to get through to that camp to finish off this individual that actually chased out of their villages. So, you know, it's disheartening what's happening back home. As what we usually say, Nigeria is sitting on a keg of gunpowder waiting to explode unless something drastic, immediate, and with all genuinity of purpose is done really quickly. Honestly, I fear for my home country. I fear for my home country. Now that's on that. Another one that caught my interest on the international scene is as you will refer to him, Orange Man's lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, had been raided by the FBI during the week. They obtained a court order to seize all his devices, and that's something to do with their role. I think he's being suspected, you know, of doing some things he shouldn't have done with Ukraine. And there are fears that, you know, if there's enough pressure and he sees there's a chance he's going to go to jail, he might sink, and then Orange Man might also find himself in hot waters. So yeah, fingers crossed. We'll see how that plays out. But you know, that really caught my interest, and I thought I should share it with you guys and the viewers. Those are my updates.
Thanks, Elvis. Thanks. Now, Egbon, after Egbon, Wale, then Wale can take over. So, Egbon, your turn to give us your update.
I honestly don't know which one to pick, because I'll tell you, left, right, center, it's all bad news. And that one is here joining this discussion is a bonus. It is a bonus. While you were giving the other updates there, a news flash came up on my screen. And it's about a lawyer being abducted with the mother, and then 2 people killed in the process. At this point, it doesn't matter where it happened. It is that bad. Because that bit of news flash that I just saw could just be next door. Frankly, that is where we have found ourselves. The senator that was making his delivery on the floor of the Senate today, I wish I could see what the reactions of other senators in terms of what they will say. I wish I could see what the president of the Senate said in reaction to that. I wouldn't be surprised if some other colleagues in there felt it was being melodramatic. But when we say certain things with some passion here on the program, it is not because we want to play to the gathering in any instance. It is because the reality is tearing up the face. And frankly, right now, it's like my heart has been torn to shreds. A few days ago, just as Elvis said, the Governor Autumn said some things. And when I juxtapose that with what the reaction of the presidency to his statement was, I feel embarrassed. I feel harassed. I feel ashamed. But that is the trend. All of a sudden, Father Mbaka is the person that is now, that has turned into a contract solicitor. If he wasn't kicking against the government, the story wouldn't have gone that way. So don't be surprised if tomorrow we are told I came with about 6 people asking for contracts somewhere there. That is where we have found ourselves. I'm not going to take too much of your time, frankly, because itemizing things is like reiterating the same thing over and over again. And you cannot see the body language of leadership is not encouraging in any form. It is not. All you see is spokespersons trying to shield, spokesperson building up small screen, spokesperson self-appointed government aides and government mouthpieces trying to say, wow, they're screaming. What is the big deal, kind of? Well, I guess it's a bit safe being in this discussion from Melbourne. I'm here, and I'll tell you, every other day is a bonus. But one thing I know is that your hearts are with us here. You have people here, and you're getting sleepless nights because every single call from home makes your heart skip.
Exactly.
Until you heard what they're about to say. So I'm not too sure whether even your case is not worse than those of us on ground. But here we are. That is the nation for you. We are in turmoil, we are in crisis, seriously. But let me leave it at that for now.
Thank you, Egmo. Thank you. Yeah. I'll pass it on to Wale or Lighton.
Yeah, thank you very much, Vicky. My quick update, I'll pick up from where Egbon, stopped in terms of that the video you played of Senator Smart Adeyemi, specifically in response to that, video, a senator also responded to that, and she actually accused the senator of playing to the gallery. She accused him of whether he's now with PDP, because she felt that such a response could only come from opposition party. So a matter of that national significance was reduced to just party politics. Like, Senator, are you now a PDP member? Because we only expect that kind of dramatization from PDP. The other update from me is more on a lighter note. I think for over a week now, there has been this drama between Idris Abu Karim. Idris Abu Karim made a lot of hit songs in the mid-90s. He made a lot of, at the time, one of the big hip-hop artists in Nigeria. So I think he's trying to make a comeback, and he did what they call Jaga Jaga Reloaded. So in that Jaga Jaga Reloaded, he made mention of the current Minister of State for Labor and Employment, in person of Festus Keyamo, a senior advocate of Nigeria, who is also a human rights activist and lawyer. So he did make mention of Keyamo and label him as now being part of the cabal, dining and whining with the cabal. And in response, Keyamo produced screenshots of text messages he had with Idris Abu Karim. That was about 2 or 3 years ago, where allegedly Abu Karim was soliciting for funds, to support Buhari and to campaign for Buhari. That was in around that 2018, 2019 presidential election. But in response, you got to pick your battle. So we've got a lawyer picking a battle with a musician that could easily go back to the studio and record a song. And within 24 hours, the Jaga Jaga man went back to the studio and he came up with another song, which he called Oti Get Here. And in that Oti Get Here, that was a very good response to Festus Keyamu's claim. And pretty much he was saying, look, I thought you were a brother. I thought you were a friend. I was in need. I needed money because, he said his mother was sick. And he approached someone he thought was a friend, that he wasn't expecting a friend to go to the media and produce screenshots of their personal, conversation. So, that's a very interesting one for me. And I'm sure that the trade of words is going to continue for a long time. But who is going to win? The senior advocate of Nigeria with good English and good grammar, or this musician that could just go to the studio and release a song, and then you have 1 million share within few hours. It's a very interesting one for me. So moving on, we move to the real topic for tonight. We're discussing a nation of armchair political experts. That is what we try to focus our attention on the people. We spoke about this last week in our discussion. We had a very extensive discussion last week, and for this week we want to focus the searchlight on the people, and we want to look at what we call a nation of armchair political experts. In Nigeria, wherever we go, at parties, in churches, mosques, social gatherings, beer parlors, pepper soup joints, work environment, wherever you go, you see Nigerians discussing Nigeria. People are so passionate about Nigeria, about all the problems. We don't only discuss the problems, but we also analyze and profile solutions to some of these problems. But if you look around you, nothing changes, in terms of social, economic, and security issue. We've been speaking about this on this program now for many months. So we are a nation of armchair political experts, where people have great ideas, but in practical terms of trying to follow up with their words, we don't walk the talk. And sadly, that is where we are, in this kind of situation that we are as a country. It is very sad. It is shambolic in terms of the current situation. So we want to discuss that tonight. And we, start, straight away by going to, by reading, there's this a book written by the great man himself, Nelson Mandela. He called Conversation with Myself. And, I quickly read, he said, only armchair politicians are immune from committing mistakes. Errors are inherent in political action. Those who are in the center of political struggle, who have to deal with practical and pressing problems, are afforded little time for reflection and no precedents to guide them, and are bound to slip up many times. But in due course, and provided they are flexible and prepared to examine their work self-critically, they will acquire the necessary experience and foresight that will enable them to avoid the ordinary pitfalls and pick out their way ahead amidst the trouble of events. So the great man himself, they're talking about armchair politics, and I think this is very relevant. So my question goes to Vicky, talking about armchair politics. Are we so critical, since return to democracy in 1999? We've been talking about this problem. Are we so critical of our, politicians, past and present, making reference to what the great man said about we are all armchair politicians, that in reality, the practical way of doing things is different to just talking about it all the time. Have we been so unreasonably critical of our government, both past and present? I'll start with you, Vicky.
All right. I will go back to what I wrote. I actually wrote this on the 23rd of January 2011 at
Wow.
11:14 a.m. I'll read this to you. It's not too long. All
Okay.
Nigerians, no solution to Nigeria's problem. But while we talk and talk, some lives are being wasted. Kids are going hungry. Women are being physically and sexually abused. Graduates are left stranded due to not knowing someone that can help them to obtain jobs. Families are becoming homeless. While we keep on watching, the thieves that we call politicians are still looting our treasury. How about we do something for the underprivileged, abandoned kids, homeless people, struggling families? I'm tired of talking about our problems and the solution to those problems. I want to take actions. That was in 2011, 10 years ago that I put this together. Yes, we are a nation of armchair politicians. We talk about it. We have to be critical, but being critical is one thing, doing something about it is another. Everywhere you go, even in United States, in Britain, in developed countries where things are working, you know, they still do armchair politics. That is, they do, and they make sure they have the system in place to deal with those that are not playing the game the way it's supposed to be played. But we talk and talk and talk. I mean, the day I put this together, I was just so frustrated because everywhere we go, when we go to Nigerian Association, that's what we talk about. We everybody trying to scream on top of another, talking about the problem of Nigeria and what needed to be done, and everybody has solution. They know what to do, but we are not taking steps, and that was so frustrating for me. That why, yeah, we have all these ideas, we know what is wrong, then let's do something. It's not as easy as that, but at least let's start taking steps. Let's just do something. We can, Nelson Mandela said, is the way he described it is totally right, but at the same time, I mean, it's like when you have, I mean, when you're watching football, we have so many people watching at the same time, so many spectators that could see things. They could see where the ball should go, who should be kicking, who the ball should be passed on to. They could see all that. Meanwhile, those people playing the game can't see. So we criticize them. Why don't you see that? Oh, that was, oh my goodness, you must be stupid. They be abusing whomever, because they can see it all. I mean, we do that. We have limited people in the Senate. We have like 200 million people that they are trying to do whatever, but we can see that they're not doing the right thing. So we are to criticize them. But criticizing them alone is not enough. We need to have system in place to make sure they
Mm.
are playing the game the way it's supposed to be played. In here, I think I used this example last week, that the police actually, here in Australia, you don't, the speed limit is 110 if you're on the highway. 110. We don't know, but they just don't trust us to do it like that, for everyone to follow the rule, which is the reason why there are cameras all over the place, catching those people that are not following the rule. And we have some cars, some vehicles that are not marked, that you don't even know that there are cameras in them. They are catching you. You trust and you check. You trust and you check. But when we are just allowing these people to do the minimal, I mean, just few of them that we catch, as soon as they get into the court, they pretend, they slump, let them go with all the money that they've stolen. So there's no system in place to make sure that people are following the law. It's the system in America now that is making sure that the orange man is not walking away with all his atrocities. We need to take it a step further. We cannot just be armchair politicians criticizing all the time. We need to have a system in place.
Thanks so much, Vicky, for that elaborate, response. And it's a good example. You give a very good example around playing football or soccer. I'm sure many of us we play soccer in our younger years, and many of us at one stage or the other we are to go in as a substitute. And the benefit of that is when you are a substitute in any game, you sit and you can see, as what you said, you can see almost everything what's happening on the football pitch. And that's why some great substitutes, they go in within 2 minutes or within a minute, they get a goal because they've sat there on the sideline and analyzed the game. They could see the weakness, they could see everything. It's not a surprise. They make a big substitution, they go in, bang, and it's got a goal because they've taken their time to really analyze the opposition and all their weaknesses. So I thought that was a very, very valid point in terms of, being as spectators, being able to assess the situation and going there at the right time to make whatever changes that we need to make. So moving forward, I will go to Egbon now. My question is around social media. Why raising awareness about political problems is a step in the right direction, it does not necessarily lead to a solution. Beyond social media activism, what can armchair politicians do to turn things around in Nigeria? And perhaps maybe I belong to armchair politician as well, in terms of things I do or say sometimes. What beyond the social media activism? What do you think we can do, Egbon, to really practically do things and contribute our own quota to that great nation?
Let me admit at this point in time that I am one of them. Ironically, I'm actually sitting in an armchair as we talk. But honestly, I don't know what the situation would have been if we didn't have armchair politicians. I don't know what the situation would have been if we were all muted. That would have been dangerous, frankly. But while you were saying all that, 2 songs were ringing in my head. 2 songs were ringing in my head. The first one is by Lagbaja that he calls Enudun Roko. The relevant bit there, as per this discussion, is Bomi Leno, Feposi, Fatasi, Egusi o, Eja gbigbe, Tori, Oya Feposi, Ṣoṣa ti tẹ́ ẹ lọ́rùn, ó dẹ̀ ti jiná o, lójú ara rẹ̀, ó dẹ̀ ti ṣẹ̀fọ́ nìyẹn. Máa wò, orí mi, máa wò. It captures the armchair politician, people like me. But the truth is, when you are in a situation that you are surrounded by obvious follies and wrongdoings, things you can see are wrong, and you are probably not empowered to make corrective measures because of maybe your status, because of the fact that you are not maybe elected to do such, you can only point such out and then expect those in positions of authority to do the right. The second song is Take the First Step by Jimmy Sholanke. Take the first step, which is what we are talking about here. Because yes, I'm not one of those that believe that you just talk. I mean, you have people who confront leadership. And when you look at even maybe repercussions or reactions to their actions, you want to shake your head and feel sorry for the society in which you are. Wale, you just told us about the reaction of the female senator to Smart Adeyemi. That is what you get. You just told us about Keyamu's reaction to Idris Abdulkarim. That is what you get. I told you about the presidency's reaction to Autumn. That is what you are faced with. I mentioned the presidency's reaction to Mbaka. That is what we are faced with. Each and every one of these people that we can categorize as armchair politicians are not talking about a foreign land. They are not talking within the context of the fact that everything around the society where they live is right. What they are saying is, these things are wrong. Where do we go from here?
Yeah.
And that is what you get. The four of us here, I mean, you guys could jolly well be sleeping now. I could be out socializing now. The essence of sitting and talking about it is because of that player that is on the bench watching the match, analyzing the situation, looking at the weaknesses, being armed and being prepared if given the opportunity to take corrective measures and score the needed goals. We all don't have to put on the soccer boots. That little whisper in the ears of the man that is going onto the field to do one or two things within box 18 to rescue that team is the essence of all this. It is the essence. Smart Adeyemi could afford to sit back in that Senate, doze off through the session, and at the end of it, he's tabbed that the session is over. He can just jolly well get up and go home. But he chose to come out and speak out. Go back to Autumn's video. Right in front of him were dead bodies. Dead bodies, Nigerians. He wasn't even making a reference, not just a reference to something that happened somewhere. Right there, you could see dead bodies on the ground. So when you are confronted with this situation of this, you can't but speak out. Okay, fine. We should have done something about. We should do something about it. There was NSAS, for God's sake. We know how it ended. When a nation is operating a constitution that you don't trust, you don't have any faith in, the foundation is gone. You're building a building in mid-air on very, very slim structures that could be blown away with the wind. Social media, just as you said, I frankly, listen, I frown at a number of comments that I see there. But where would we be now without social media? The print is gagged. Television, forget it. Radio has to choose its words. They still try. They still expose. Thank God for independent broadcasting. They still do that, but they have limitations. Yes, people abuse the use of social media. Yes, I agree. But where would we be right now with these jackboots, with these oppressors, with these people that are going to frenzy when the truth is spoken? We could still do a lot more, yes. But the way it is now, you've got to keep talking. Oh, maybe somehow, somewhere. I know people, I mean, listen, a lot will be different. A lot will be different if the body language, just the body language of leadership is different.
Yeah.
But when we are talking about, as we are sitting here, as we are talking now, some people are being killed in some remote villages. Like they don't have the right to life. And somebody is sitting somewhere, not saying jack, not saying anything. The least we can do is to talk. Please, let's keep talking. We will, of course, need to also take the first step, just as the visual and advice. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Egban. And talking about continuing to talk, I think that was a statement credited to the current Vice President, Professor Yomi Osinbajo, a man that I have a great respect for. But in recent times, most of his comments, you would think probably this man is in opposition, that is completely out of power. You know, I read most of his comments these days. I just feel that I'm reading something from an opposition, not from the vice president of this country for the past 6 years. For example, during the week, he said one of the problems with Nigeria is that influential people, they are not talking truths to power. You know, he actually said that, and that was a statement credited to him, that one of our problems is that people are not talking truth to power. And I said, is this man in a different planet? Like, with what else do you want people to do? To really open your head and put something there before you get the message? But these are people that went to some of the best universities in the world. And you just sometimes think, what has power done to some people? So moving forward, I will go to Elvis now, and it's just a matter of trying to bridge talking and taking actions. It has been argued that not all competent people can vie for political offices. But it appears many of our middle upper class people who are not interested in political offices are not donating money and time towards achieving the Nigeria we want. Why? You know, agree that we are not all going to be there as politicians, but we have people that they have money, they have resources, they have knowledge, but many are not actually contributing their resources, you know, to solving Nigerian problems. Why is this the case, Elvis?
Well, Wale, it might also be that such individuals are benefiting from the status quo. Yeah, the critical thing there is how will it, you know, benefit them to get things to happen the way the people yearn for, the way it will benefit the generality of the entire populace. It might be their bread and butter comes from, you know, those same areas that, as your question infers, you know, going to challenge those in power or the authority or sponsoring any sort of not agitation in that sense, or upstaging those in power already, or trying to tilt the balance of power, may not go well with them, because what might happen, like we say we have a democracy, but I also think it's we haven't got democracy in truth and in spirit. We also have a government that is sort of, I'm sorry to say that, tyrannical. You come or say things that are not in favor of the government. They may just come up with one policy and shut down your entire operation. One policy or the other will run you aground. So you've got to really watch the battles you pick. It's pretty easy for government or those in positions of authority to take them out of business. So that could probably be why. I know we've got a few billionaires were created to, Obasanjo's regime, and they still keep. I'm not going to name names. They're still benefiting from from the ills of our society today. From the penury that our people are going through. The poorer our people get, the richer they become. I mean, you can imagine a situation where one individual was at the time during Obasanjo's regime. I think one individual had the contract to, is it import diesel or to refine whatever, in that space, and they made a lot of money. Is it the same individual that will use same money he made out of the government to challenge the powers that be? So it's a dicey one, Wally. Yeah, it's a really problematic one. And look, I'm just going to touch on a few points that Vicky and Egbon made as well. So yeah, it's that's being armchair critics is probably at this point that people can do. They've tried a few other things like going to protest. We saw how that one ended as more avad here. Our people are not just talking. Our people actually would like to take action, but the system that we've got is not in favor of the people. It's pretty easy for the government to shut down any opinions, shut down any protests. I recall a couple of years ago, I think it was Two-Face Libya that was rallying around. Two-Face, was going to organize a really big protest that was, all over the news. People were warming up to partake in that protest. I remember a few days to that protest, the young man backed out, and I read on social media a lot of people were being unfair to him, to say, "Oh, he's a coward. Why didn't he go ahead with it?" But I sat down where I was, and I could guess that perhaps he had been threatened or something. I don't know. I don't know why he would have made so much noise, and then the very last minute he pulled out of it. And that is just an attempt to organize a really huge protest at the time. So these guys in power would do anything to ensure the status quo remains, to ensure they keep perpetuating themselves in power and benefiting from the corrupt system that is in place in Nigeria. I mean, Vicky mentioned, give an analogy of the speed limit we've got here in Australia. Yeah, they know the speed limits are there. Still, they have cameras and policemen, the ones that use their camera to check your speed, and you could be fined if you're over speeding. Yeah, so that's for a system that really works. Now, is it the armchair critics that will go and put that system in place? No, it's those who are elected into positions of authority that actually, have the wherewithal to put those rules in place. Now, whether they want to check themselves or check their activities, who knows? Because once those rules but they probably will not be able to perpetrate all the injustices they've been perpetrating all years, all years long, and with no hope of anything done better in the future. The only option available, and look, and I'm not advocating for that, is like the young man was saying in that video, and like Governor Otton said, Mr. President, we saw them, allow us to carry AK-47. That's the only other option. I saw in that video, I think it was around Lagos State University, where these guys, the bandits or the Fulani headsmen, were brazenly destroying cars that were parked either inside the university or opposite the university. And you had military men there, you had policemen, and these guys, had their AK-47 and destroying, private properties, and the security men didn't even make an attempt to stop them. So you begin to ask yourself, is there something going on here? I know there is. So it's really difficult for anybody to take their individual funds to fund self campaigns or sponsor people into wherever they even do it. Wally, it's also for their own personal benefits. It's for them is an investment. They put in 100 million. They're expecting to get 300 million naira back. So it's really a difficult one. To be honest, that's my view on that. It's hard because those you expect to do it are probably benefiting from the status quo. So yeah, difficult.
Thank you very much, Elvis, for that insightful explanation on that. But moving forward from there, we're still talking about how can people still come together to provide time and funding towards some of these problems. I agree with you entirely with what you said about the upper class people, business people in Nigeria, and that's kind of symbiotic relationship between them and the government. But recently I read about diaspora funds. I've not been able to do more research, but I read something, I think 2 days ago, that there's going to be a group, Nigerian group, diaspora group. They put in what they call diaspora funds to the tune of $10 million. I know that's just like a drop in the ocean in terms of money in Nigeria, but they put it together $10 million, and they want to make funds available to people of good character, people that really have vision, people that have something positive to contribute to Nigeria, to Nigerian politics in 2023 election. So, Vicky, is that the way to go? If we believe that our people are so much cowed and they are not able, even though there's that money, they're unable to do much because of all those interests, mentioned by Elvis. Is it the diaspora? Is it the way to go? But I've just read $10 million has been made available towards 2023 election. One, is that the way to go? In terms of trying to, because you made reference to something like this last week when we were talking about how can we really help, and you made reference that sometimes the help needs to come from somewhere outside Nigeria. And so when I read about that, I think 2 days ago, I remember, your point. But so, is this the way to go, in terms of trying to solve some of our political issues?
I believe that is the beginning. When we talk about $10 million to all, these are money that people in the diaspora work so hard to put together. You can't compare it to money that these people are stealing. Okay, you can't compare it, money that you just have there and you have access to, and you can spend any way you want, as much as you want, is not comparable with the person that everyone just put a little bit here and there. So, but it is the beginning. Yes, we've all been complaining, we've all been talking, at least we are doing something. And the more, as soon as we start taking one step, and then the next, and then the next, hopefully things will come together. So the question that you ask is that the right thing? But I have a question also. They have the money, and are they thinking that the leader, the person that they're going to put forward, will be from the diaspora, or they want to, um, support people within Nigeria who have great character, who have great record, or what is it really?
Thanks. My understanding is that they're making the funds available, just like they make the funds available. I think the $10 million I mentioned is just the beginning. I believe over time that will increase. They're going to make the funds available. Obviously, they will have their criteria. And the whole idea is that people that they believe, have the capacity to change Nigeria will, just like people, I guess, apply for funds, like from most of these grants, from most of these big donors. I think that's the way it's going to be set up. People would approach them, probably introduce themselves. They are contesting for a councillorship or chairmanship or House of Rep, whatever. The way I've read it, and as I said, I will need to do more research on this. I think anyone, regardless of whether they are based in Nigeria or they are in diaspora, could apply for these funds. But I think the key component of it is that it's more like a kind of next generation kind of politicians that they have good ideas of how to do things differently to whatever we have at the moment. That's my understanding of the way they propose for it to work.
All right. And the people that are doing this, um, because I know of some people that would love to be part of such a group, me included, uh, because it's not about complaining anymore. It's not about sitting on your armchair like Egbon has been doing. It's about now taking steps. All right. So I think it's a great thing that they are doing. And last week, one of the things that I mentioned in terms of moving forward from complaining and doing nothing is more. I mean, we can have leaders, within and outside, but total populace still need to be educated. And like we all know, majority, I mean, they are pauperized, which is an ammunition that the government is using on our people. So, in moving forward, with that kind of money and more donations from more people, there should be a way to feed our people that are struggling, and also use the opportunity to educate them. All right. So to me, it
Yep.
is a great thing that they are doing, and they should leave it open for more in the diaspora to join and help out. Because if Israelites didn't,
Permit me to say justice.
Sorry, Egbon.
Egbon,
No, no, I will allow Vicky to finish. I will allow Vicky
Okay,
to
okay.
finish.
Sorry.
so the
I
Israelites,
was going to chip in something, but I will allow Vicky to finish.
those outside were the one that put together, that put money and everything together to rally, a lot of money so that they can settle and have a place to call home. They didn't wait for people within. They didn't wait for other government outside. They did what they have to do. And up until today, wherever you go, Israelites, they are united. Even if they are doing something bad, they are still united. Within them, if you have any issue with an Israelite, he's got a lawyer behind him who is an Israelite. He's got other people within his inner circle who are all Israelites that are watching his back.
Mhm.
And this is, I'm talking from first-hand experience here. from my interaction with them, and that is the way it is. They protect that. What happened in the days of Hitler will never happen to them again. The affliction will never rise again. That's their thing. And they, wherever they go, in the United States, they're the same. In Australia, they are the same. That's why for you to penetrate into Turak, you're joking. All right. So what am I saying here? These guys, they've started something great. They need to let us, other people like us, know, because I'm very interested, and I know other people that may be interested. So Egbon.
Thanks so much, Vicky. I will follow up on that, in that particular information. And it's a very good example you gave about, the Israelis, the Jews, and the state of Israel, and, how when the state of Israel emerged in 1948, due to a lot of lobby from Israelis in America and from all over the world. And that's the amount of resources that followed into current state of Israel, and the amount of expertise. As you said, you might agree or you might not agree with some of their policies, but it's one of the strongest, country in the world in terms of defense, security, economy, and what have you. And it's because of the strength of the Israeli in diaspora. So, Mike, next question, like, well, you can take this with your comments from Vicky's last comment. I'm still following you up on social media, but remember to add your comments. The spread of fake news on social media inhibits promotion of accountability and good governance due to misinformation and disinformation from different parties involved. How can we promote good governance and at the same time give credits to the government when government has done something right? So you can take that question, Egbon, around the fake news and the polarization of ideas with your comment, from the last Vicky's comments.
My hope and prayer is that government will overwhelm us with the good steps, good measures. When you're overwhelmed with so much good things, good news, you hardly will have time for falsehood. I don't know whether I'm getting myself. Government should overwhelm the people for a change with positive things, good policies, good actions. When that is in abundance, listen, it's the people themselves that will kick against this fake news. It's the people that kick against falsehood. They need it. Listen, I've just listened to Vicky, and I'm in my heart, I'm saying, out one day, we'll rise up as a people, as a nation, and say, never again will what has happened to us in the first 60 years of our nationhood happen again. It will be such a pleasure if one day we can rise up and say that, because the first 60 years, which unfortunately I have experienced, has brought more tears than joy. There have been moments of happiness. There have been moments of excitement, moments of goodwill. We've had that. But recent happenings seem to wipe off some memories. Recent happenings is not doing justice to what some of our past leaders, what they stepped out to do, what they did. And you wonder, I keep asking the question, are we okay? Fundamentally, do we even believe in the nation Nigeria? Do we? Take football out of it. We all come together to be Nigerians when it's football. We do. We all come together as Nigerians. We all come together when you have Nigerians making giant strides out there. We feel proud. All of a sudden, Okonjo-Iweala is a brand owned by almost everybody.
Except Nigeria.
It is. I didn't get that, Vicky.
I said except Nigeria.
That is where the problem is. That is where the problem is. There are things fundamentally, there are things that are fundamentally wrong with us. What you are seeing as the ideal, does the average Fulani man share it? What Elvis is seen as an ideal, is it shared by someone down there in the Southwest? Is this man down there in Southwest not saying in Igbo? What's this man saying? What's this Igbo man saying? Not even this man saying. What's this Igbo man saying? It's a problem. And all this is happening within the structure of one nation. So there is a danger in forcing a pill down the throat of someone who believes this cannot heal him. There's a problem with it. There's a big problem with it, a huge problem with it. So back to the issue of social media. Listen, people will still sit in the comfort of their homes and throw some of those things out. It is simply because they do not believe in the nation Nigeria. If you know that one post of yours is going to bring upheaval and alter societal peace, would you do it? Would you do it? But once they decide not to think deep, what can you do? Which brings me to the fund you referred to. My take, yes, make it available to people who have genuine and honest intention of making corrective measures, taking corrective measures within the society. But it is important to have a part of such funds, because that will not be the only one that will spring up the way we are going. It is important to have part of such funds, and a significant part of it pumped towards changing the mindset of Nigerians.
Exactly. Mm.
You need it. You need to change the mindset of Nigerians. They are the ones to receive the message from these politicians. They are the ones to take a decision whether A or B should be supported. But if they have that mindset of, it's not from my clan, and whatever he's saying does not make sense, there's a problem. If they have the mindset of, it does not belong to my political party, that's the problem. When analysis is taken on how people vote in this country, it will shock you. But outside that, Vicky talked about the system, putting systems in place. Can we go to sleep and say INEC will do the needful? Can we go to sleep and say the truth will be revealed at the end of an electoral exercise? Can we go to sleep? Do we have such structures in place that one man, that an electoral commissioner or the presiding officer will be too scared, will not want to end up in jail if he announces falsehood? As it is, falsehood is almost institutionalized. Last week, I remember, not to take too much of your time, I mentioned about local government elections. When I hear local government elections in this country, I laugh because it's all about falsehood. You can predict. You can almost predict the outcome, and that's about the most important governmental level. That's about the most important level of governance that people who rely on for the change of their status, for the peace, for development within the society. But you can almost be rest assured that the wrong man will occupy that seat. All he needs to do is to belong to a particular political party in any state. State Independent Electoral Commission. It's from the palms of the governor. Cap in hand. They don't kick against what he says. It is that bad. That is the reality. I stand to be challenged. When you hear State Independent Electoral Commission, it is a body set up to do the bidding of the party in power. You will have little snippets or little things that is a bit contrary to that here and there, but they are very, very insignificant. Now, when you have that in place, quickly, allocation comes. Let's use 100 that is supposed to go to the local government, to each local government. The governor, in his wisdom, in his power, doles out 30. That man that has been selected, or that team that has been selected to govern over the local government, dare not raise eyebrows. So out of 100, 30 comes to you. Salaries have to be paid. Salaries itself is actually supposed to take maybe 40 or 50% of that. No. Maybe salary itself is supposed to take about maybe 70% of that. Not of the 30, of the 100 that was expected. Now the local government, in order to make up the figure, because when it comes, top officials have to be taken care of out of that 30. A chunk of it goes there. I don't know if you're following this scenario. Now they push officials out to muzzle the people in the guise of different taxes and dues. So it is the populace that have to, whether they like it or not, make up for part of the inadequate funds. They are choked. They are levied. And these are poor market women. These are drivers. These are artisans. They are choked. They have to look for their money. They have to pay for it. At the end of the day, you still expect that set of people to embrace government, to embrace governance, to embrace leadership. Oh, forget it. It's a long story. It is not an exciting story. And I'm not proud to reveal this. It is known out there in the streets. We have not started though. Serious, we have not.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much, Egban. It's just a very, sad reflection on the local government, which by every standard is the closest, kind of a government to the people. But are we? My next question will go to Elvis, and then are we, like we normally do, looking at the time, Elvis, to in answering that question, provide your way forward, and then I will go to Egbon Yemi, and then I will hand it back into to Vicky to wrap up the show. But talking about experts, Egbon made reference to Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. And there are many of them that they serve with PDP, and a lot of columnists that they are now back as armchair politicians after they spend a lot of time working with President Jonathan, and we see a lot of some of the atrocities that they also were involved at the time. I'm talking about specifically about Dr. Okonjo Iweala. There are many like her that they serve the country, and in the process, they nearly got damage in terms of the reputation and everything they built for years. I remember towards the end of Jonathan era, when she was finance minister, and she was a big top minister, and there were a lot of corruption, and there were a lot of, it was increasingly embarrassing for her coming out to defend the government, because she was involved in economic planning and finance, and then there were these billions of dollars that were disappearing at the time, and I think she had to strategically place herself to return to Brentwood Institutes just to save herself and save her career. So my question is this, Elvis, which is an example like that, and many others. How do we really encourage some of these armchair politicians, especially people like her, that they've been there, they try their best, but the system nearly destroyed everything they've built for decades? How do we encourage people like that to really embrace the opportunity and leave the armchair politicking and return to, to serving the people in Nigeria? How do we encourage people like her and many others? How do we encourage them?
Yeah, well, in that space, we also have the likes of Professor Wole Soyinka. During IBD's regime, I know headed the Federal Road Safety Commission, and he was almost damaged in that process too.
Absolutely.
We had the likes of Tai Sholari. I think he headed the People's Bank at the time. The People's Bank.
That was the People's Bank. Yeah, that was under Babangida.
Under Babangida, yes, and he almost got damaged in the process as well. Now, well, look, I'm a realist. I say it as it is. You encapsulated it when you spoke about the diaspora funding, and you also you concluded by saying, "Oh, look, I know they raised about $10 million. There's more to come." I know that's a drop in the ocean compared to what they're up against, what these other guys have in their kitty. Now, when you also juxtapose the number of people you have, these corrupt people, these people that won't let the system move forward, against perhaps those that will be sponsored by the diaspora funds, or the people like us who are in diaspora. You compare that with the number of corrupt politicians who don't want Nigeria to move from point A to B. You said there was a drop in the ocean when you talk about the money. That one in itself is another drop in the Bermuda Triangle, not just in the ocean. So when you have a preponderance of corrupt people, and you perhaps sponsor 1, 2, 3, even 10 people to say, okay, challenge the status quo, go and make that change. Honestly, I don't see it as something that is feasible. I don't want to sound pessimistic, but again, I'm a realist. We've got to say it as it is. Judging from past precedents, people like Okonjo Iweala and others who were in that space and left the system and ran like there's no tomorrow. They don't want to have anything to do with this system. They do not want to damage their credibility. So, in terms of how we can encourage them, my brother, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know how, because it's something you have tried, that we've tried with a couple of, not just herself. I think there's this other young guy. during Jonathan's regime. He was also a minister. Frank, is it Frank? Do you remember his last name? Frank something Jr. I've forgotten his last name now. But yeah, he was in that space as well, and of course, nothing positive came out of it. If you ask me, look, I'll relate this back to the points Vicky made. You know, you spoke about the Israelites, what they do for themselves and how they support each other. The difference between us and the Israelites, and as Ebon clearly adduced to, is that Nigeria is a tribal country. That's the difference. Like Ebon mentioned, typically people first see themselves as their tribe's person before they see themselves as Nigerians. So it makes it difficult to have that cohesion, that sort of spirit of working together or togetherness as you will have with the Israelis. So in that area, I think we are disadvantaged because we don't see ourselves as one. Ebon, you said, you mentioned Omo Igbo. It is not just that. Tabatu lo si na Igbo gan wa ma gbọ́ ọmọ Anambra, ọmọ Imo. Break it down. You now bring it down to Imo State, where I come from. You hear Omo Owerri, Omo this. So look, it's really difficult. But for me, Wale, I think, and this is also going to be part of my my final words. I think a good place to start is restructuring the country. I mean, the status quo cannot remain. I mean, the meaning of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. We've done it for nearly 60 years now. Is it 60 years already? Nothing has changed. If anything, as my friend in Germany said to me the other time, we are underdeveloping. Things are getting worse by the minute, every day. I think it's a place for us to try something different. Given the unique nature of our country of ours, allow people to develop at their own individual paces. Structure the country to the extent that you reduce that power in the center, and allow the states, just like we have in Australia, like in the US, where the states can have their laws and they have things that bind them together, national security and immigration. But as far having their economic policies, creating employment and all of that can be done locally, individually. But as long as we continue the space we are right now, I don't see anything, working. We've tried this for too long. I think it's about time we try something. We tried something different, and I'm concerned. I'm worried why some people, obviously those who are benefiting from the status quo, will not let that occur. But the earlier we allow it to happen, I mean, it's about time we had that uncomfortable conversation and told ourselves the bitter truth with the aim of, seeing things done better in our country, seeing Nigeria progress, seeing things, occur positively. We've been in the doldrums for too long that it'll be crazy for us to keep doing the same thing and expecting something different to happen. So, yeah, in terms of your question, Wale, I don't know. I do not have any advice how we can make them come, because the system is going to swallow any knowledge they have, any ideas they have. The system we have on ground is just going to come over them, and they'll be lost in the crowd. Because where you have where you are the only sane person, amongst 100 insane individuals, you appear like you are the insane one. So what do? You walk away. So maybe just try restructuring the country and changing some laws and rules and putting measures in place to ensure people do the right thing. That's probably a good place to start. I don't know how to make them, come back on my English.
Thanks so much, Elvis. I'm sure you've covered a lot, and I'm sure in between everything you've said, I'm sure that people will be able to tap into something practicable as we can get. Thanks so much for that. Yemi, your final words for tonight.
Good place to start. Lock up the senators and the House of Rep members in their chambers and say, forget party politics. Give us a constitution that is workable, that is acceptable. Forget party politics. Let us get things in shape. If the executive is not delivering, do the needful. In here, forget politics. Let us salvage this country. 200 million of us cannot sit down and talk. But let us listen to the message, a message like the one that came from Smarter DME. Forget the messenger. What do we do about this message? A message that is obvious to all of them. Let us take that step here. Because those outside won't let us go out. Get all members of the states assemblies all over the country. Get them in that chambers and say, you are not leaving until you do the needful. Itemize the needful. They know what to do. They know what is lacking. Maybe it's a first step. Because all people in that state cannot sit down and talk. When you talk about restructuring, they say take it to your representatives. They are the elected ones and they have been given the powers to do what ABCD things. So let's get them to do it. Time is not our best friend, but time is really running out fast on us. Seriously, it is. And I'm so scared of that little push because we are the precipice. That little push. I don't want to imagine what it is. But hopefully we'll survive all this. It's just that I don't want us to go back into the normal cruise motion without. Elvis said it. We are not developing. We are not. At least the way we should be. The story of Singapore is there for us to see. A lot of things that we do not have to. We don't have to. Oh, what's that thing? What's that word now?
Reinvent the wheel. As you say.
We don't have to reinvent the wheel in a lot of places. Too many things. But let me just use that as my last word, I beg, before I start getting honestly emotional again.
Okay, well, thank you very much. And I will, we hand over to Vicky to summarize everything and wrap up for tonight.
Thank you, Wale, and thanks, Egbo. Thanks, Elvis. Another show, and it's quite depressing. It's like I listen to Elvis and I'm like, God, and I listen to him, I'm like, okay, are we ever going to get it right? Are we ever going to get it right? There was a movie that I sent you the link. I actually put the link on our messenger page, which is all about the title is if I am the president. And that movie summarized it. I'm not sure if you guys had the time to have a look. I will actually download it and put up some of the clips, that says it all. One of the actors there, Joke Silva, who in that movie was a teacher before becoming a politician. She worked as a teacher for 30 years, and then she became a politician, House of Rep. And she made a comment that, which is what we see, that she's finding it difficult to understand why is it that what she heard first year of becoming a senator was much more than what she earned as a teacher for over 30 years of teaching. Isn't that sad? And that is what happens again and again. To the extent that a country that is not generating any income now borrowing money to pay senators that are not doing anything. Because for me, I don't see what they're doing. Egbon suggested that we should lock them up and talk to them and get them to do something. If I should say what I think we should do to them, it's this is not I shouldn't, so as not to put Egbon into trouble. I'm not going to say it. So, you
Please don't.
know, they
Please
are
don't.
doing, what are they doing? And they are getting paid all this money for going there to just have a nap. It's not right. It's not right. And it's sad, but we want to round this up on a positive note. And I will focus on what Wale said, which was the fund that the people in diaspora are putting together. So hopefully that would be the beginning. I don't want to see what tends to happen because, we look at Nigeria. Nigeria is a big country, but I look at Nigerians in Victoria, which is Melbourne, Australia. If we count the numbers of Nigerians there, we're not up to 5,000 people. We still struggle to get it right. And so I don't want to look at that. I want to look at the spirit, the mind, the spirit, and the what made those people to come together and say, let's do this. And when we get to that bridge of ethnicity, when we get to that bridge of division, we will walk around it and we'll get over it and we'll deal with it. And we'll keep focusing on why we're doing what we are doing. And it's always the best way to start from why. What is your why? The people that came together and put that fund together, $10,000 is a lot of money, right? Maybe to Nigerian politicians that are kleptomaniacs, it might not be a small shaking change because, of course, they're stealing. But to these guys who are working for every cent that they earn is a lot of money. So $10,000, but what is their why? If we all know our why and we make that our focus, no matter what happens, when Elvis starts saying, "Oh, you are not from my village, me, I don't know you, can you speak Igbo?" Okay, if I say Igbo, so you can you respond? If you can't respond, then we don't want to hear. When we get to that point, when Elvis starts saying that, I'll refer him back to our why. We have a reason. There's a reason why we're doing this. So I think we can't give up. We can't look at the gloomy, situation and give up because we're not gonna win. But when we focus on, okay, we're doing something, we started taking steps. If a little kid will start learning to walk, start taking the first step and fall, the next step, two steps and fall, and then before you know it, this kid start walking. I think the kid it will get there. We will get there, and I just want to round this up on that note that yes, these diasporian people have started something that we all need to uh, kind of find way to get involved in, and hopefully we will have one voice based on our why. Yeah, it's been a show. This is one of since we started. Honestly, this particular one has been kind of a little bit somehow to me, and yeah. So let's just finish up so that Elvis can go back to work and I can also go back and do some other work. I want to appreciate you guys for coming on the show and just sharing ideas. And we're not just sitting down on our armchairs anymore. and just talking and drinking and then going off. We are actually doing something. And I said this to Dare. He called me just to talk about the show we had last week. He watched it and he was commenting. So I said something to him. I said, I believe that every word that comes out of our mouth on this show, I see those words as seeds, that we are planting seeds. We don't know who is watching right now or who may be watching later on. Those are words, Egnon's words, Wale's words, Elvis' words, might kind of trigger something in that person. That person may be our Moses. That person may be the Moses that we're looking for. That person may be a Jerry Rollins. We cannot stop using the gift of our voice. And this is what the Nigeria we want is all about. This is the show to keep planting seeds. Hopefully, somebody somewhere will listen and grab something, and that will stimulate something, and that person may be the Moses that we are all looking for. So I appreciate you all. I'll bring your mugs, Wale and Elvis, next. We have a party next Saturday, couples night. It's gonna be great. This is gonna be my third one. I'm looking forward to it.
Egbon keep missing out on everything. Egbon, you keep missing out.
Yeah,
here we go again. Here we go again. Rub it in. It's okay. Feel free, rub it in.
Yeah.
But on a serious note, Vicky, and on a serious note, and maybe on a final note from me, a country that has an Okonjo Iweala, an Adesina, a Yemisi Shilon, a Biodun Shobanjo, a Vicky Omifolajo, a Wale and Elvis has no business to be where we are today.
Exactly.
No.
True, absolutely.
That's my last word.
It's true.
Absolutely.
Serious. And I'm being very honest here. I'm being very honest here.
All right. Let's.
But I enjoy the party.
We will. So
talking about the party, are we meeting after the party on Saturday? Just to be 100% sure, are we meeting for the show?
Wale, not on your live. That show is gonna end around 11 o'clock, so we can't.
I missed that.
That show is gonna end around 11 o'clock. So we can't make it. Don't worry. Don't worry about. Where you just put on your dancing shoes, come in and show us your moves on the day. All right. That's all you should bother yourself with. We can skip the show for next week, and then the upper week we get together again.
See party goers negotiating.
Boy, don't blame us. You can't imagine what COVID has done to us. We've been in lockdown for God knows how long. We've just been released from detention.
Don't worry,
and I think so
we will review it. No, voila, we will review it after.
Okay.
We'll be back in 2 weeks. We'll be back in 2 weeks. I'm going to have a lovely Saturday next week, and we will have a great couples night. Me, I will be there with my doctor man doing the dancing. We will do Zoom for you. Don't worry, okay?
Trust now.
You can attend virtually, so that's
exactly. You're not going to miss it.
All right.
You people just leave me.
All right. Thank you everyone for joining us this evening. It's been one of our, all the truth came out and all that. We'll be coming back again in 2 weeks' time when we do it better with another great topic. Until then, you all have a lovely week or 2 weeks. We'll see you then. Take care, Elvis, Wale, and then
Wale.
God bless
good
you.
night.
Yeah, good night. Bye. Bye.
Bye.